So hello everyone, once again, thank you so much for joining us. So as we all know that today we will be learning about Git interview preparations, where we'll be learning different questions and also different scenario. So I will walk you through one by one so that we can explain and we can understand one by one. Okay. The first question is, what happens when pull request fails with a merge conflict? How do you resolve it? It is very simple, right? So it is asking. So normally we do pull request. Question is, why do we use a pull request, right? Whenever pull request you do normally, if you do a pull request, I think I cannot type it here, no problem. So whenever you use a pull request, I will show you here maybe. So let's say this is your branch called main normally. This is a main branch, right? What happens? Okay. This is your main branch. Here, all your code basically, let's say you have your application code or whatever code, it is already production ready code, right? This is called, you can mention as just a understanding production ready code. But where this is stored, this will be stored somewhere in your this particular main. This is stored in your let's say repository, that is a GitHub remote repository, that means GitHub, right? Sorry, git GitHub. Now as I mentioned, this is basically nothing but this is actually remote, right? Now somebody working here locally, some developer or DevOps, whoever it is, okay, they're working here, they have installed some BS code, everything. Somebody is working here. Now this particular person is modified his code, right? But what this person is doing, normally according to the question we are going, okay, because it is talking about the main branch, it is talking about the main branch. So we'll see. So what you'll do, whenever you're modifying the code, there is another branch will be there. I mean, the full I'm saying, okay, there is another branch called, here we have a something called as a feature branch. Okay, this is also branch called as a feature branch. This feature branch normally we will not directly take the direct code from the main branch. What we will do, main branch is already up to there. That means production ready, in the sense it is already ready code, right? Everything's working code. Now, but let's say I'm working here now, right? So normally what we will do, for whatever branch I have, I mean code I have from the main branch, okay, whatever code I have from the main branch, I will, based on the main branch, I will create new branch called as a feature branch. That means first main branch is the main, that is the default branch from where I will be taking the origin code, in the sense from this is the source of code, what I say, origin. That means from this branch I will create a new branch called feature. Now normally what people will do, again this is depends on the situations, there is something called as a branching strategy, right? So branching, BRN, branching strategy, right? Strategy. So we will learn the later. Okay. Now we will learn this part later anyway. But in one of the things we are focusing on the future branching strategy. Strategy in this case, as I mentioned, this is there are different types of branching strategy. One of them is a future branch strategy. Question is, what is future branch strategy? So this is your main branch, as I told you. This has all your code is ready now. What you will do, you will have a separate branch called feature branch. Sorry, not feature branch, my bad. This is actually what you call, this is a dev branch. Forget me with that, okay? This is a dev branch. Let me just clear. I was referring one more concept here. That is a thing maybe. Please forgive me that thing, okay? This is not the feature branch. This is actually a what branch? Development or dev branch. Dev branch. Okay, this is a dev branch. So from the main branch, you will create a branch called dev branch. From the dev branch only, what you will do, you will do a create here based on, let's say there is a requirement where I have to work on the monitoring. Let's say that means here as a developer, locally, this is local, right? This in locally, they will create a branch called locally feature slash whatever the task or maybe feature, particular feature that he's working to. Let's say this particular, he's taking the code from the dev branch. That means he's creating, the developer is going to create the code, repo, branch from this dev branch only, called as a feature slash something monitoring, let's say monitoring or monitor, whatever, right? That means this is a branch locally created based on dev branch. But dev branch is actually created from where? Here, main branch. Now what happens whenever basically this particular now try to modify something locally, right? Locally now he will modify all this code, everything. Then next what he'll do, he has to push the code to where? He has to put the code to main or the dev branch. Because as I told you, this is a source branch, right? Source branch means that is the origin branch. This feature branch is coming from the source branch, that is a dev branch. So as soon as you modify your code, you will not directly push the code to the main branch. Normally you will not have the here something called as a branch policy. You will have a branch policy concept here. Sorry, policy policy. Okay, there is a branch policy will be there. What it does basically, in the sense, you cannot directly push your code directly to the main branch. Okay, so in order to push the code, normally they have to do a pull request. But you can ignore for now this part, the main part. Let's focus on the dev parts, development part. Okay, so as I told you, the dev branch is created based on the main branch, but the feature branch is created based on the dev branch. Now what happens? Now when this particular person is try to modify some code here, right? And he modified everything is good, everything he's going to post. He's going to post to the where? But as I mentioned, this is actually a locally. Locally he's doing it. Local, okay, in the local his system. Now that means he has to, if he is working here, that means this particular person, they cannot modify directly this code, right? Because this is source branch, right? He cannot modify the code directly here. So what I'll do, whenever he create a feature branch, he will switch to this branch, that is a feature slash monitoring. He will switch to this branch, and within this branch only he will be modifying. Once code is ready, then what he'll do, he has to push the code here. But at the same time, in the dev branch, as I told you, this is also remote. Some other person, another, let's say another developer or maybe DevOps team is also, this is also another person working here. Let's say this is from the, he's working on the some other, let's say feature slash, let's say I'm saying example on the alerts. This particular working on the alerts now. This particular working, everything is done. This directly, let's say, push the code to the where? Dev branch. This already push, but this guy is still working it because this is taking more time. Let's say you have created this one yesterday. This particular branch was created when? Yesterday, let's say. Yesterday created. Okay, and this was created maybe today, let's say. Today they created and also they have pushed it because it is small changes. Where they have pushed it? Dev branch. Okay, that means this particular is a small task. He might have modified something according to the alerts related things, and he pushed to the dev branch. But this particular person was working for last 2 days, right? Yesterday and today, but still his work is not done. Now what happens? This particular person tries to put the code. What happens? He can push, he can direct, normally there is no issue. This particular person can push the code directly to the dev branch now, no issue. But problem here is, as I told you, this particular whatever changes is there, right? It is only dev branch. Now dev branch with this one will be not synced because the latest code, whatever this guy pushed the code, will not be synced from the dev branch to the what is it, a monitoring branch. Because as I told you, this is an old branch, not like not updated code. This is the latest code, right? Because recently he pushed it. So what happened in this case? you can push the code, but whenever you're running the pipeline or anything, there you will not have the consistency basically. That means you will not have the up-to-date code. Okay, that time what happened, this particular branch would not have the up-to-date code. That what you mean up to date in the sense, let's say the updated code will not be there, whatever pushed by this person, right? So this is the reason why we normally we should do is that the good practice we have to do according to the this thing. What do you do normally? Once you modify your code, there are two ways of getting the update, because as I told you, I have not committed. So I want to first get the latest code before committing, so that I can have the this whatever modifier I have code here, as well as whatever I have the somebody has posed a code also, I can sync together. What is the way of doing that? Then there are two way of doing it. One is what I can do. I can simply use a git pull origin, git pull origin, and what is the branch name? Dev branch. Where I have to be in the same branch this time. If I'm in the same branch, I can do this command, because that means I'm sitting in the same branch, because I don't want to go, because as I told you, I need to get the latest code, because this person pushed from the remote, right? So remote code will not be updated locally unless you pour this thing. So first you have to get the latest code also. So what you do first, you can make like git pull origin depth. But question is, when can I do this one? This can be done in within this also. There are two way of doing it. First thing, what you can do is, as I told you, you can directly run after git at git commit. I mean, just git commit. I'm saying you can mention maybe dash am and the message name, right? Something, let's say, what a message name. This, after this commit, I can run this command. Okay. Another way I can also do during modification. That means during work also you can do it. In the sense, let's say you already working this branch. That time also before committing also we can do it. But question is, what is the best practice, right? Which one normally to do? As I told you, before committing your core local core, you can also post, I mean, get a latest code from the dev branch. Otherwise, even after committing also you can do it. Before and after both options are there. But then question is, when can actually you, but what is the best practice of doing it? All right. So best practice, what normally I've seen many people are doing is that they will first commit a local code. Local code mean the sense, whatever I am working here, I will commit this one using the git commit dash am, whatever something, whatever message name, I will commit. But you don't have to push, don't post it. Okay. No push. That means you will not be pushing. You simply run this command first. This is the first thing. After once you get a commit this one, then only second we can use this commit, this command, that is git pull origin depth. That means what happened now, I have locally I have updated my code, as well as I'm trying to pull the latest code from the dev branch. That origin is nothing but remote branch, right? Dev branch. I'm going to get a latest code and then merge with my future branch, because whatever latest code I have here, it is going to be pulled it and stored in particular branch, right? That is a monitoring branch along with my latest changes. Once it is done this command, then only I can run the git push. Okay, git push. But again, while doing the git push also, we need to understand one more thing, whether this particular branch is created from remotely, it is created, or locally created. Or another word I can say is that this particular monitoring branch you created, right? Where is that? This particular, right? This one you created from local system or the remote. There are depends, right? If it is created remote, and if it is a remote and you have created this thing, then it's so good, no problem. But what if this particular monitoring you created locally using I can use a different way, right? Branch name I can create, let's say, if I create locally, let's say I can give a git checkout as B and then branch name. In my case, I can give a full name, right? Feature slash, sorry, it is a small letter actually. Always try to use a small letter whenever we use a branch. You should not be using capital letter. Okay? This is a best practice. Okay, feature slash monitoring. Okay, monitoring. So as I told you, that means I have created this one locally. If you create it locally, right? But how can I? There is a many way. How do I know how? Question is, I have created this one, but before doing this one or before running these commands, you have to first check out to your dev branch first, because dev branch code you want, right? Latest code, right? You want based on the dev branch, your new branch means you first check out to the dev branch and run these commands. That means based on the dev branch or the source that is a dev branch, you are going to create new branch called feature slash monitoring. In this case, I'm saying this is created locally, right? That time we also need to remember one more thing here. While pushing it, these all steps remain same, only that while pushing it, you have to additionally add u is nothing but upstream, and the origin, what is that? In my case, I can mention this branch name, that is again features slash monitoring. You might be thinking why I'm using this one, but if you're creating this particular branch, let's say this particular branch was created, right? That is which this branch, let's say you have created this one remotely, in the sense already you created using GUI. That in this case you don't need to, because it is already available in the remote. Why you require this one dash u, and we can mention the what is it, origin, why we have to use, because Git will not know whether to track this branch or not unless it is available in the remote. That means it has to be always available in the remote. Then only the Git can understand local as well as remote. It has to be updated. Right now, as I told you, this particular branch, if you create locally, that means it is this particular branch is not available in the remote, right? This is the reason why I need to use the dash u and origin, then branch name. But if you're creating same branch remotely, that is using what is it, GUI from the portal, then you don't need. You simply use these commands. That's it. Rest all remain same concept. Okay. Now this is one way. Now I'm saying this is one way of doing it to pulling. Now I can also do one more one, but this is one of the things that we can do it. But while pulling also, there is also another way of doing it. Okay. So let me show you. Let's say what I can do is I can first, while once you modify, basically once you modify your code here, right? Once you modify your code here, you work with, now you want to commit the changes, right? So as I told you, to get the latest code, what do you have to do? Once you're done with your code, everything, you commit your local code first. Commit in the sense using the this thing, right? This commands, right? This one. You commit first, then instead of doing this one, this commands, you can do second option, that you can use something called as first checkout git checkout depth, sorry, depth. That means I am now checkout to dev branch. That means right now, as I told you, I'm working here, but now I have committed, but I didn't push the code. So I will check out to dev branch. Once I go in dev branch, that means I will be switched to the dev branch now. Once I'm inside a dev branch, then simply I can do is that git pull. I don't have to mention any other, like I don't have to mention origin or anything like that, because I'm within the origin itself. That is a dev branch, because from here only you created new branch, right? So in this case, you can use this thing, the dev branch. Then once you done git pull, then only whatever changes is there remotely will be stored locally, right? Then only this whatever changes remote you have, it will be stored local also. That means local copy will be stored. right? Whatever you have code, as I told you, it will be stored locally. That means now only once you done this thing, you should now change the directory now. I mean, change the again back to the your previous this thing, that is your git checkout, then I can mention the, because this is I have already created, I have to switch this branch. That is a features slash monitoring. Okay, that's once I done, I can use again now this what is this commit this name, which one, this one. The reason why I'm saying multiple times, if you notice what is the difference now. First, I can directly use the git pull origin deb. Another one is I am going inside the deb branch, then I will pull the changes locally. I'll bring to the locally first, then I'll switch to the again my branch, and locally I'm basically pulling the changes from different branch locally. But this one means directly from the remote. But why I'm saying is that I have seen the situation where sometimes if you directly use these commands, some changes from the remote will not be reflected sometimes. Okay, that means if you're working the remotely, this particular this thing, somebody might have modified the changes, right? You may not see sometime in your local branch, that is your this branch sometime. This is the reason why normally if instead of this one, you can do like this also. Git checkout, go to this branch first. Once after committing this branch, then you go to pull, store the locally in your within your system. Then you switch to the branch again, that is your checkout. Then only you can use a this command, git pull origin again dev branch. That means, because as I told you, this is not remotely now. The same code is stored in the locally also. So you can now use the same command, git pull, right? One minute. Okay. So yeah, that is a thing. So what we will do, as I told you. Okay. Next, we will do here git. Sorry, git. Okay, git checkout we have done. Then I can, after git checkout, and I have one now I can use a git. Let's say pull origin deb. But this time this will be bringing from your local changes, because you have pulled it using here this command, right? You have pulled it locally. Then only once you done this thing, you can push it, git push, git push, git push. But this time, if you're doing git push, again, as I told you, if it's a locally, if you created this particular branch, you need to use a dash u, otherwise not required. Dash u and origin deb branch. Sorry, this branch name. In my case, this is one way I can do. Okay. Now, once we done this thing, then we can do a changes. Let's say, as I told you, we have posted this thing. Now the code will be changed. But this time, while doing the git pull itself, right here, you will get a merge conflict. Let's say, if it is the same code, same branch, let's say you have a same file with different value in two different locations. That case, you have a conflict, merge conflict here. MERG, merge conflict. The question is why this merge conflict will come this time. Merge conflict will come this time because the same particular file, let's say you have a file one, you have here, let's say you have a file one, right? File one, you have, let's say, other particular line, in particular line number, let's say 3. Here has some, let's say, some value, let's say here staging, just a value name as a staging or text something. In the same file, another this thing also have another in the same line, let's say here you have a different, let's say here deb, let's say I'll mention as a test. Test is nothing but this is just a message actually. A message is some code, let's say. So that means in the same line of the code, in the same file, I would see two different value, right? Now Git will get confused which one to consider or which one to keep or which one to destroy or delete it, right? So they don't know. That is when we have to what you say, check which one you want, which particular what is a value you want, whether you want put for this particular staging stage or you want a test, that you have to take a decisions. So question, how can I take a decisions? This will be done when you do this during here, during pull request time, because you are merging basically from your dev branch to the another what you call your feature branch. Okay, that time we'll have issue. So in this case, as I told you, merge conflict comes mean this is one situation. If you do pull request, I have already opened one this thing. This thing. Now, if you see here, something like this will come. Now, if you while doing the pull request, it will come something like this. Now, if you notice here, what it says now, accept current change, incoming change, as well as accept both and compare change. Right now, what it means basically, it tries to understand whether you want to keep the latest code current. If you see here, accept current change mean locally, that means locally, let's say you have some value, right? Let's say locally you have value of, let's say you have a locally, let's say you have a this particular, let's say you have this value you have locally. In line number 3 they have this something written like this. Now in the remote, with the same line, somebody has this name or some other code, let's say in the same line. Now what we will do is that Git will tell you that you want what the current means, it will be which one, it will be this one, right? Test. Current mean it will be test, whether you want this name or you want this name. Now so based on that you have to take a decision. Now in my case, if you want current to keep as it is, then I can select as a accept the current changes. That means the remote one what is already there, it will be ignored, they will get deleted. Okay, it will be ignored, they'll get updated with this name in the same line. When it comes to the accept incoming means, if you don't want the local changes, I mean local changes to be updated with the remote one, that means if you think that the remote, the message, whatever the code is correct, that case you can select this one. Otherwise you can select both. Some cases what happens, you want to keep both also. If you want to this case, that also we can keep both. But question you may have is that, okay, you said that line number particular accept both, what it means basically. That means, let me show you. Accept both mean I want this value as well as this value. But in the same line, how is it possible here, right? All right. So this is why we need to understand. Here, normally one of them will be in the local branch would be always first place, and the remote branch, whatever I have, it will come in the second another line. Let's say line number 4, right? That means first will be 3, it will be default locally. Remote will be considered in your second line, that is your third. I mean third always is there in the third line, 4 it will be in the 4th line. If you want board, otherwise you can ignore it. Or maybe if you want to see the different changes, then what you can do is you can also check using the compare changes. That means you can compare between local and the remote, what changes in what is the line number. Normally here also you can see the changes. Here it will come more in details, like what changes is need to be done, where everything you can get it here. Okay, I hope this is clear, team. Let's go with the next one. I mean, I think a little bit I need to explain still, I think so. Okay, so in this case, the question is asking this one. So in this, what I have to do now, if you see the answers, question 1 second, let us read. What happens when pull request fails? As I told you, fails mean because of the merge conflict, right? How do you resolve it? So now we understood the concept in the background. What happens? The answer is that Git cannot merge remote changes automatically, as I told you. We cannot merge the remote changes automatically. What we did was manually we have accepted it, right? Whatever changes we need. Then after this one, open the conflicted files, edit manually, and then we do this thing. Okay. Now what we do after doing this thing, after modifying everything, now you know which one to keep or which one you don't need. Then you can use a git add and the commit message whatever if we can mention git put origin in this case. But in this case it's main, but in our case if it is a dev branch, because we are talking about dev branch, we can talk send to dev branch instead of the main. Concept remains same. Okay, so this is how we need to understand. So once again I'll just repeat this thing so that it will be easy. So just to revise, because this match conflict is very crucial actually in while working with Git. Okay, so as I told you, I will just explain in 2 minutes maybe. Okay, so what we did was okay, so there is a branch called main branch. Normally, as I told you, we will not work with the main branch, but in according to the questions, it is a main branch. So we can same concept we can talk that. So, but in normally, as I told you, we'll have a main branch and we have a dev branch. There will be lot many other branch. I'm just giving some of the high level. So let's say dev branch. Now I want to create some branch called mounting related. So based on the dev branch, I'm going to create new branch called feature/mounting. So this is based on the dev branch. Now, once I basically work here, this particular person was working locally, they have to modify the core or change something, right? Once they have done everything, always the best practice what you can do is that try to use the git pull commands before pushing. When you commit the core first using the let's say git commit, right? Git commit you do locally. Once you're using git commit, then mention the message name. Then you can also do a this command git pull origin this thing, so that whatever you have remotely changes, those will be downloaded in your local system or local branch, and it will be merged with your branch, right? So this time also, as I told you, if there is any issue, particular file number line, everything conflict will come. You have to fix that one manually. Which one you want, which one you don't want. That based on that you can fix it. Next, as I mentioned, after this one only, after git pull, I can just git commit dash m, right? So if you do this git pull this time, as I told you, there are two ways we can do. Once you're working here, directly I can use a git commit message name, I can put something, but don't push the changes first. Okay, before that, if you want to bring the local changes, as I told you, there are two ways of doing it. One is just using git pull origin dep. Second one, you have to check out to the particular branch and then pull. And then after pulling, you can switch to the branch. That is your, again, come to the your previous branch and then git pull again go to the branch. So that this time, as I told you, this time also if there any conflict, this will come. So these commands all similar, depends on the situations, and whichever command you want, you can use it. But sometimes normally I prefer to use this one because this is easier for me to install, because I need to switch to the dev branch and do all this stuff, right? But sometimes these commands I noticed that sometimes the git all the course is not updated properly. This is the reason sometimes you may need to work with this kind of workflow here, but this is also working fine. But some situation may not work properly. This is the reason why I have I'm trying to explain. Okay, all right. So once you basically fix your merge conflict, then you can do a changes, that is using let's say git you have done this and git push directly. Okay, and that's why we have to learn it. Then this is what it is also explain you. Then you can do git push origin. If it's a main, in our case, if it's a dev branch, you can select dev branch. If it is a particular branch, you can select this thing. Okay, we will learn more about that one. Let's not stick too much. Okay, let's remain or simple. So it is asking how do you handle, sorry, how do you undo the last commit before lodging the changes, right? So how do you undo the last commit means it is asking you don't have to lodge the last thing, but before lodging the changes. Changes means let's you modify something, but let me show something if I can have it now. Let me see. I'm not going to show everything demonstration. I'm just trying to show you what possibility options are there, right? Uh, okay. Now, let's say I'm in the main branch now. Now, if I'm main branch now, if I type git branch or br or branch, right? Right now I do not see the reason why, because I am not listening second to the particular this thing. Maybe I can simply type ls. I can go to the branch that is a real time. Now I can type ls. Now I can type a git branch. Okay, now I can see the changes now. As I told you, I am to the particular repository now. This is why I can see now. I'm in the main branch now. Now, this time, what we need to understand here, we can ignore this one for now. This also we can ignore. Okay. Now, what is asking now? This, what is that? Here. I don't want to lose, but I want to see. There are actually we can using concept called as a git reset. But git reset, the answer is given as soft dash double dash soft hat one. That means hat one is nothing but it is the last commit. Otherwise, I can also do with the help of what commit ID, right? So we can use. Let us see first. If I type the git reset, sorry, git help reset, git help. Let's see double dash singular git. No. Now, what basically it is asking, we can use this commands, right? Soft delete. So it says that keeps changes stays, but remove the last commit. What it means basically, right? Let us understand. Now, let me expand this one also a little bit. What did I type? I simply type git help git dash reset. What it means basically hyphen reset. There is also one more double hyphen I can use it. Reset I can do. Basically, I want to see with the particular this value name, that is a git reset, what is the possible value or available apart from the git reset. There are different type of git reset we have, no? So if you see here, it is mentioned as a hard. What is mean by hard, or what is the other value, or we can define it. Let us see that. Okay. Sorry, hard means, as I told you, there is many ways. My bad. In the heart, it is showing anything? No. Okay. Basically, everything. Heart means basically you are going to you're going to basically remove everything. Remove everything in the sense from local staging as well as from your working directory and the remote. Okay. Once again, I'll give you notes for this one. Don't worry. Local, remote, and also staging. These three will be used if you want to remove that situation, the particular line of the code or file. This thing you can use this command. If you want the soft means, it will be in the what is it? What is last commit? Last commit mean if it is a post mean till the last post it will be there in the staging. But here means mix means if you want that code to be removed from the even the from the stage staging area also, staging as well as the remote, we can use a mix. Now, how will I know this one? After doing this one, I can use a git for this command again. Now, this override history, use carefully with the share branch. If you're working with the share branch, carefully you have to do it. Now, if you see, what is this? Okay. Now, if you type here, maybe git log one line, right? If you see here, this is a one line we can see. So now example, if you want to commit the head, if you see here, what is this one, right? If you want to put, you can run this command, which I mentioned, right? So you can select whether you want to do a hard, soft, or this thing. You have to follow the same syntax as I mentioned here. Okay. So that is the thing. Now, then if you want to see details in details, we can use instead of one line, we can use a graph. GRAPH, right? Graph. Now it will help you more in details also. We can see uh, everything in more details, right? So yeah. And next, we have spent too much time. Let's not focus. We have how do you apply a specific commit from one branch to different branch? As we all know, there is something called cherry pick. If you have, let's say, here we have only this thing. If you just type we don't have much commit changes and all wrong. Let's say if you have a multiple commits, and if you same, let's say in this particular commit ID, I have same changes. I want to basically merge with different brands instead of entire changes. With the only particular changes I want, I can simply use with the commit ID using the git cherry pick. This one, just simply use git cherry pick and commit ID. That's it. Now what happens? This applies only that commit to your branch, particular branch. It will be in here. Okay. But question is, how do I do need to do? You may sometimes what people are thinking, you can run it. But thing is, in which branch should I be standing in, right? So in this case, if you want to basically your branch means you have to basically check out to your branch first. Let's say I'm working. This is the main branch now. If let me see git branch. I have only main branch. Let's say I create another branch. Let's say I want to bring these changes, right? This particular changes, what I can do instead, git checkout. I can create new branch because I don't have any branch right now. Git checkout dash b. I can mention let's say dev. This is created just now, right? Just now it is created. Now if I say I have two branches, dev and I'm standing here right now. So if you want to bring the changes from the main branch to the here, for example, you can simply with the commit ID we can do it. So you can simply use a commit ID like this, or you can get a short ID of the this also. This is a full ID actually. Let's say I want to copy this one. I can simply use a git cherry pick. Then because I'm standing in the main branch, sorry, dev branch, right? I can simply paste it like this. Then I can run it. Now, as soon as I see, now you can see basically the changes on the branch. You are currently in the cherry pick commit with this, you can see. Now, whatever commit you have, see these all things we have done it in particular commit ID, in particular branch, not in a dev branch, different branch. These are the changes happened. So it is showing now. These all untracked. So it is interesting, right? We have to do like that. Okay. I hope this is clear. Let's go with next one. Um, I think yeah. What is the safest way to force push between our overwriting team members? So if you have if you're working with different team, so normally we should know how normally need to push normally. So we can force, we can with the list. So if you're releasing whatever, it will be safely pushed to the remote as well. So nothing to be explained here much. Okay. And next we have, how do you see changes in a specific commit? We all know, right? We can use a specific commit if you want to run. We can simply use a git show command, then commit ID. Specific commit means what changes happen, right? Now, if I see here, um, I can see the commit ID somewhere. I simply use a git logs. Now I have to, let's say, if I want to check particular commit, right? Whatever particular commit, I can simply take the commit ID, or maybe I'll take this one. And then I can simply type git show. Git show, as I told you, that you can see this thing, that you can see whatever changes is there, that you can see that's also. Okay, so this is how we need to basically see that. Next we have it. How do you compare changes between two branches? As simple. If you have two different branches, how do I know the changes, right? So if you want to know the difference between two different branches, git def difference. Def is nothing but difference, main, then feature. Okay, so now if you want to two different branches, I can mention git whatever branch name. I can define two different branches. In my case, I'm here right now, so we can also check this also. Okay, now next, branching strategy. Now, what is the difference between main, develop, or DevOps, develop, and the feature branch? There are others, but I'm just giving the high level. Now, as we all know, main branch something that has a stable production ready code, right? That means the code should be always up to date always. And that develop, it has the integration branch for testing. That means if you're working with something, it has to be tested, it has to be verify your code and vulnerabilities, everything, right? So that is the thing. And we also have like feature slash any name. So this is short lived branch for new features. Say for example, for every single let's say features or maybe tasks, you normally will be having a separate branch created for you, so that you can work on that, and based on that, once it is done, you can push the changes to the respective branch. This is why it is called as a short-lived branches. Okay. Then next we have it. How do you rename a local Git branch? Rename is very simple. If you want to, how do you rename a local Git branch? You can, let's say, Git add, commit, something we have done this newly created. You can ignore this one. I have written maybe that time that this thing. Yeah. What can I do? Think it. This I don't need for now. You may confuse, right? I can remove. You can ignore for now this one actually. Okay, you can ignore this one for now because this is for another thing. As I told you, I will explain this also. First, let's go with the questions. If you want to rename this thing, you need to use a M. M is nothing but modify. Now Git branch, old branch, new branch. Now if you have a branch called some name, you can let's say Git branch. I want to modify, let's say dev branch. I have to go to M branch, old and a new branch. But let me try this one. One thing we need to understand, you cannot modify the branch if you're in the same branch. That means I'm sitting in the dev branch right now, right? I'm in the dev branch. Simply if I type also, I can see the branch, which branch I'm standing right now. I'm in the dev branch now. If I want to modify this one sitting here, I cannot modify. What is the command? Git, what is that? Git branch dash M and new branch name, old branch, right? So I can simply git branch, and then I can mention the M modify, and what is old branch? Dev branch, because this is a branch I want to modify. Some other name, let's say I say staging let this time. Oh, that's, is it changing? Let's see. It's interesting. If it's changing, good. We'll check. Sorry, is it correct spelling? Sorry. Okay, that's great. If you're standing in the same branch also, it's possible we can do. Okay, that's good. If you're in the same branch also, we can modify. Okay, we know how to modify in our branch. If you're in the same branch also, you can modify. You just give the branch name. First M nothing modified. Git branch dash M modified name is nothing but modified, and name of the old branch and the new branch name. Good. Okay. Next. How do you check branch? Sorry, how do you check which branch commit belong to? If you have a multiple commit ID, we should know this particular commit ID belongs to which branch, right? So sometimes it is important, right? If you have a particular commit to check, we can run the git branch and this commit ID. So let's not think much. Let's go next one. And we also know this one also, as we have already explained also. How do you push a new local branch to remote, as we have already learned, right? So git push, as I told you, set upstream. Set upstream is nothing but it is again just the dash u, which I have used, or we can use a, I can mention here. Sorry, dash u. You can use this one. Instead of writing this big name, right? Instead of writing this big name, you can simply write this short name. Like this, you can dash u, you can type, and then origin, then name of the features, whatever, sorry, branch name. As I told you, this is a, if you create a newly, locally, in this case, local branch, if you want to post for the first time to the remotely, that is your GitHub or maybe Azure repo. That situation, we have to always, you need to use the dash u, or maybe you can put a full name, set upstream, and origin, then feature name of the branch. Okay. Now, how do you prevent direct commit to the main branch in GitHub? So this is about the basically branch policy, basically, right? In branch policy, we can do that. Branch policy, we can do this one. So for now, we will ignore this one. As I told you, we have a separate for that. Now, merging, rebasing, and squashing scenarios. How do you combine multiple commits into one before pushing? Right, that means before pushing the before pushing, basically it is asking how do you combine multiple commits into one. If you have multiple commit in your particular branch, you want to, before pushing to particular branch, how can you combine the commit id, sorry, commit that? So we can use something like a git rebase and I is nothing but interactive. I nothing but it is interactive mode, and with particular commit ID there we can mention. First we can mention it here, and we can mention a squash last 3 commits. Okay, this is little advanced. I will maybe I will explain, because again it is going to take more time. I'm going to maybe make this in a different color so that I will explain later. Okay, remain me later. This is very advanced topic. And then we have, when should you use git merge versus git rebase? As we all know, we have discussed already. Merge when we can use when working with team to preserve history. Now, if you have a team of let's say 5 or 10, and that time we can normally use to preserve the history. History mean, if that means if you're working with different team, let's say for each person would be modifying their code locally or maybe remotely or all together, right? That time every single commit there will be commit ID created. Now what happens whenever commit ID get creates based on the task, right? So that time some particular team they want to know, right, this particular person whatever changes happen, so they can see also. So if you want to preserve that situations, I mean see the history, then we can go with the merge. But reverse is very opposite of that one. When working solo, to keep history clean, that means if you're working normally individually, let's say you're working with particular feature branch, right, and you're working with particular feature itself, particular tasks or features. In this case, within the same branch, what normally you will do, you will commit your code locally and then push to the remote in the same branch and test it, right? But sometimes there is a chances of having a code issue, or maybe you have to fix the bugs or everything. That is all okay for individually you are working, because the core is, I mean the particular branch is only belong to you or your individual working. So in this case, it is only for the specific task, right? Because as I told you, it is working for a particular task. So in this case, instead of having a multiple commit ID, we can simply use the reverse, so that you can we can basically keep your history clean. That means instead of having so many commit ID, you can only have one commit ID or two commit ID, depends on that. That situation we go with the reverse. And how do you undo a git merge if you made a mistake? Git merge, as we all know, git merge already completed mean there is a before. Two way we need to understand: before committing and after committing. Before committing, we can use a git merge double dash. We can use abort. Okay. If it is already commit before committing, then we can use this one. Or if it is already committed, then we have to go with the reset. Again, hard commands. What did I say? Hard means from your local also. As I told you, there are different type of reset. Git reset, like mix, hard, and a soft, right? So if it is a hard means it is going to be removed from your local also. Remote, staging, and local. Local in the sense your working directory. Okay, that way we can use it. All right. Now let's go with next. Now we have a fetch, pull, and stage scenarios. Now, what is the difference between git fetch and git pull? This is very common. The interview question you get, they'll be asking this sort of questions, but it is very simple. You need to understand very clearly. I explain them. Git fetch basically downloads changes, but does not merge them. That means it is only going to basically download the changes, but it is not going to merge to the particular branch. You can see the changes, right? But pull case, fetch and the merge the changes into your branch. If you're working with particular branch, means if you use a pull, whatever changes you have in the remote will be download and merge with your particular branch. Okay. Now we have it. How do you temporarily save uncommitted work and switch branches? Now, question is, why do we need to do this? There could be situations, say for example, right now I'm working with the staging in let's say branch. For any reason, now another person told, let's say your manager told you that Hriyen, can you go, there is another task which is very urgent where we need to complete this as soon as possible. Can you just start working on that? Let's say you have to work with different branch, let's say dev branch. Now what normally you will do, you have, let's say you have modified some code, you are working with some Terraform code related something you are doing, right? So what you do here, not something you're doing here, let's say. Now what you will do, next thing, you will go back to the basically you will be something you modify here. That means your work is not completed, let's say 30% or maybe 50%. maybe 70% is completed your task. Now you cannot directly start working and jumping to another task, right? So there is a way of doing that. So this is where what we can do, because why I'm saying is that you cannot lose your work that you have done already, right? You want to save the work that you have done, then only you want to switch or start working with different tasks. So in this situation, we can simply use a git task command. So what git task command basically will do is that using the git task will help you to basically save your the changes that you are doing locally. I'm saying locally, okay? And they are locally if will do changes in the particular this thing, then only you have to go to the checkout whichever branch you're working. Let's say I want to work with the main branch, mean main branch, dev branch. You do this thing again. Once you're done with your work, you complete the task according to the git flow, then you come back again. Once you want to come back to your the previous work that you want to start with, you have to use a git pop. Git pop we can use it, but git pop also git stash also, like a git pop we have, git apply we have it. There are two commands we have. Let me check. Sorry. We can have a, let's say, a git pop. If it has a git pop, another, sorry, git status, sorry, stash, this is stash apply. I can do this also. Another is a pop. So we need to know the difference also. Now, if you see here, let me show you git, sorry, stash. Now, if you see here, git stash list, basically, this is basically just if you have multiple stashes. Let's say if you have done multiple time, you have saved it the stash. That means temporarily you have saved it, right? And discard from the particular branch. That time we can use if you want to see them, how many stashes you have done, you can use a git stash. And we have a git stash. So this is this thing we can use these sorts of untracked things. But git stash drop also we can do stash. And this is very important. Git stash pop and git stash apply. These two are very important. Now, what it will do is that if you use the git stash pop, right? Pop and apply. Apply basically, if you want to just apply it, pop means, let me show you. Let me go with the stash. I mean, first git, I'll go with the git, let's say git stash pop, right? Pop basically will basically do a changes and delete the existing stash. Apply mean what you can do, apply if you want, whatever stash you have, the stash commit ID will be generated. Those will not be deleted. Now I don't have anything, that's I don't see. Okay, if you have a git stash, this will be deleted. So now if let's say I'm simply trying to, let's say say something here. Yes. If I type here git stash, that's it. Git stash I do because I want to switch to different branch. I mentioned here. Now if I use this thing, now you see the commit ID, save working directory and index. This is a WIP is nothing but on staging. It's nothing but working in progress. Okay, that means you are working this particular in progress, or we can mention as a work in progress. Now what you do now, if I now let's say now you can switch to different brand. Let's say I have switched it again. Let me come back to the main branch. I simply use a, I can use a list. I want to see first how many I have done it. That means now you can see the stash. The stash always there is an index number. This index number would start from the 0 always. So first stash would be always with 0. So it call with this name. Now you can see the what is the stash ID also. We can get this also. Okay. Now I cannot work still. Now if you see here, I have done the stash. I'm in the same this thing, but where is the changes now? Where I have modified? I do not see here anything because as I told you, it is temporarily save and discard from your branch. What is mean by discard? Mean they will disassociate from your branch itself. That is why I'm just showing here, but I do not see because I have modified here. Till now I have not seen anything, right? Now I can do two ways. As I told you, I can use the git styles apply. Apply I can do, just notice it. If I use the apply, see whatever changes is there, you can see this now. Okay, this is one way styles apply. Second one, now if I type again, let me show you. Now if I do a let's say this time git styles and pop. Let me show you. Before that, before pop, let me show you first. If I use this thing, I have one, right? Just notice I have one staging. Now if I do a pop, as I told you, I can start working it. I guess pop. I have this many. Now if I type now whichever branch basically that you're working, you can start basically you can start working with those changes, whatever you want. Okay. Now this is where we have to work. Now once you're done these changes, the modify means whatever code that you want to modify, you can do. Now you can see because this was not I did not shape this code many of the things. This is why if you see some of the things you can see untrack and all that. So that is where we have to do it. So anyway, you have already, there is an assignment, right? I have given, you can check that also we have done. Let's go with next one. That is like a rollback and troubleshoot scenario. How do you reset a file to its previous state? I can git checkout, I can double dash, I can mention the file name. Okay, this is normally within your staging area, working in your this thing, right? That we can do these comments also. And how do you remove untracked files from the working directory? Untracked means if it is like what untracked in the sense, if you see here, whatever you see like you write, you is nothing but it is untracked. If you want to remove all this one, we can simply use these commands, right? Git clean dash f. Okay. Now next, what is git ref log? When do you be use? Ref log basically nothing but shows recent git action useful for recovery loss commit. So meaning, let me show you here something. Let me first check which branch I'm in git. I'm here right now, right? So let me now, let's say something happened to here, this particular branch or maybe this thing. Now, if I try git ref log is nothing but it is a reference log. Instead of having the complete this thing, you can check here. So git ref log. Now issue. That means you can see all the reference log when this particular happen, which this thing, and what is the head, how many times we post it, what is the head index number, what is the name, what he mentions, everything we can see here from what kind of things you have done. That basically all the kind of activity that you have done, right? A task that you have worked with, those will be shown. You can see here clone also. That means this is basically a logs. They can see the logs in the git also using the ref log or reference log. Okay, if you want to see this also, I can see maybe single one line. Sorry, like this. I can see this also. But if you want to see more details also, always instead of one line, we can try to use a graph, GRAPH. Maybe graph would not support. Maybe in this graph later. Okay, anyway, it's not supporting graph. No problem. It only support the one log.
Typo.
Is it?
Yeah.
GRAPH. Is it? Okay. Sorry. PH. Okay. Let me put one more dash. Yeah. Incoming. Okay. Anyway, yeah. Sometimes some is not supporting, but you can use ref log. We can use it. Okay. One line we can use it. Or just ref log. Normally, you don't have to use, just ref log would help you to identify everything that is required for you to analyze it based on the issue. So, for example, if you have an issue where the issue is with every single distinct with a commit ID, you can go and you can reward it based on that if you at all record. All right, now let's go with next one. That is, it is asking, how do you check the last 5 comments? It is interesting, right? If you want to see the last 5 comments, I don't want to see the everything. So I can simply git log dash 5, nothing but reserve 5 last 5 commit in the one line. One line means in the short, right? There also we can see. In my case, I think 5 commit we can run this command, but I don't think so. We have run 5 commit. Maybe let's see. We'll try to run 5 times. If do we have, it's okay. Otherwise, that's okay. That means last 5 commits I can run. In my case, we have not done the last 5 commit. No? That is why it's showing only 2. Now, in this case, if the 1 means 1, 2, 2, you can just mention based on that. Okay. Next, how do you roll back to previous commit but keep the changes? As I told you, there is something called a git reset mix, right? Mix means now you understand here. How do you roll back to previous commit but keep the changes? Keep the changes mean from the remote you want to basically roll back, but then in the locally or in the particular staging area, right? In your staging area is nothing but normally what we do whenever we run git commit. Sorry, not git commit. Whenever we use a git, not just let me show you git status. If I do this, what is it mean by this one? This is nothing but is all your working directory. This is all untracked working directory. Now once I do git add, let's say, what happened now, this means now this particular untrack or maybe whatever you have in your working directory, I am moving to where staging area, right? So this is where I can use with the help of this one, I'm moving to the staging area. So once I move to the staging area, now if I type, I can get status, sorry, status. Now I can see this is all green color. What is mean by green color? It's nothing but you are standing in this staging area. Green means staging area. That means I am not in the working directory. The file whatever is there, it is in the staging area. Okay, so that time if you want like that, this mix will help you to bring it changes till here. Okay, till here, as well as the remote, of course remote will be what is said, it will be it will be changed. Okay, previous comment whatever say, it will roll back, and also the changes whatever you have, it will be stored here. I mean, it will be available here. It will not move here. But if you want to move from here also, as I told you, you have to use a what you call, there is a something called as a git reset double dash hard, right? This one we can use it. That means the changes from here also they will remove. Okay, they will remove from here also then in this case, as well as the from the local also, local working directory I mean. Next, I think we are good. Next is about how do you generate a GitHub personal access token? I think it's okay. We will do that later. As I told you, this is a GitHub related. I will talk about that. It's very simple. Nothing much here. If you want to do that, you can do. Maybe I will show you that later. Otherwise, we have time. Okay, we will do later. No problem. As I told you, GitHub part I will focus later. I think I have already mentioned this also anyway. Let's do that later. And next we have, how do you add a remote repository? If you want to add a remote repository with the help of, instead of cloning, if you have a remote, we can use a git remote add origin always into mention and the URL of the repository. Now, then I want to post it also, I can use git push dash u something, but is upstream again origin in particular branch. Okay, and we have it. How do you prevent accidental push to main from local? So we can do something like this also. Git branch, see whatever branch name in particular we can mention like this. You have to just use the upstream branch name. Okay, or instead of this one, normally trust me, normally no one prefer to use this one. They'll go with the branch policy. Branch basically there is a rule, right? Who can push to what. We can use a branch protection rule. I mean there actually. So this is the thing. Okay, I think I can show you also. We have time for 2 minutes. I will show you this also. Personal access token, how we can do. If you should do settings, developer, personal access, right? If you go to the, let me open my, I type if you go here, there is an option, right? If you click here, there is a settings. come down. There is a under settings profile. There is a developer. Let me show you one second. You may confuse it. Go to settings. Okay. Go to settings. Go to the there is a what is called settings, right? On the profile there is a settings. Go there. After clicking here, come down, or under your profile there is a developer settings. Come here, and now you can see the personal access token. You can see there are two, classic and fine grain. Okay, so you can select either one. So let's say I'll select with this one, or whichever you want. This is already expired. I can simply clear here. In my case, it is asking me to basically define authenticate. Let me select this thing. Okay, let me 2 minutes stream, almost done. Okay, so I have to type my GitHub. Let me check. Okay. 7 4. Okay, 0 85 83 5, right? So yeah, so like that. Now you can give your token name, anything like a test token, something like they can give, and you can give description if you are looker, and you can give who's the owner default. If you're creating based on the profile, you can create. Otherwise, if you have a different kind of organizations, I have a different organizations. If you want to manage by particular organizations, as you can see, these are the organizations that I'm having it, Docker related, Kubernetes, and the master, so many other things, right? Based on that, you can create based on the organization also. But in my case, I'll focus with particular my name itself. Now you can see you want whether this has to be public repository, and also the all repository you want to give access, or maybe a particular repository, or select the repository that you can define it. You just take it whichever you want. You can give permissions. Okay. Then next is you need to see here is like you can see something repositories. Right? If you click here, you can see here option like action related. You can just go through. If you want to give access, let's say no access, read only, you can give, read write, you can give. So it's all capabilities are there in GitHub also. It's just we need to check what exactly we need, depends on your task or maybe requirement. You can basically do, you can say example pull request related, we can do secrets also, secrets variable related. So many things we can do. In my case, let's not do too much. I mean, for now we'll go with the just create it, right? Or I will show you, maybe just unhide this one. Let me unhide this one. Okay, so once I do this thing, I can simply create it. This is already there, will be expired. Okay, I think I didn't give it something name, right? Yeah, like that. So now you can copy the name, whatever name you have, you can copy this one. So this normally name you only one time. Okay, if you're trying to maybe access next time, it will not, because if you see here, somewhere is mentioned, right? Okay, here, make sure to copy your personal access token now, as it will not be able to see this again. So only one time. So if you close the browser, then gone. So it is always saved basically to basically copy somewhere and store it. Okay, so that's so that they can access it. Okay, team, that's all for today. So we'll wind up the sessions anyway. Thank you once again for joining the sessions. See you in the next sessions. Have a nice day.